West Hollywood, California. Gold's Gym on Vine Street, Tuesday, August 3, 1971. 2:45 a.m. in the afternoon. The crash of iron echoes off concrete walls, steel striking steel, the raw soundtrack of sweat, ego, and ambition vibrating through the building. This is no sanctuary for the fragile, no playground for pretenders. In 1971, Gold's Gym is where men come to forge bodies into weapons. Competitive bodybuilders sculpting mass, powerlifters chasing impossible numbers, professional protectors training their physiques to be instruments of force. The air is thick with chalk dust and quiet aggression. 37 men move through the gym floor, most absorbed in mirrors, in progress, in the relentless pursuit of size and dominance. But this afternoon, the routine is about to fracture. Something is about to unfold that will circulate through martial arts circles for generations. An event witnessed by only 12 people, and even among them, several will refuse to speak about it. Because in the next 18 minutes, everything they believe about size, strength, and real combat will be dismantled. Near the bench press station, a man is holding court. His name is Vincent Takeda, but inside Gold's Gym on Vine Street, nobody calls him Vincent. They call him Vince the Wall. The nickname is not ironic. At 6 foot 4 inches tall and weighing 285 pounds, Vince does not merely occupy space, he dominates it. 15 years of disciplined, methodical training have built him into something closer to architecture than anatomy. His arms resemble carved oak beams. His chest spreads outward like plated armor. His thighs strain against black gym shorts thick as reinforced cables. Vince is not a hobbyist. He is not a weekend lifter chasing aesthetics. He is a professional bodyguard. Executives, studio heads, foreign dignitaries visiting Los Angeles. People whose safety budgets exceed most men's lifetime earnings. When those clients request the best physical protection money can buy, Vince's name circulates quietly through private security networks, and he has credentials to support the reputation. 8 years of Western boxing, 6 years of Greco-Roman wrestling, hundreds of sparring rounds, dozens of real altercations diffused before escalation. He understands proximity. He understands leverage. He understands how quickly a situation can shift from verbal tension to physical violence. Most importantly, he understands intimidation. On this Tuesday afternoon, August 3, 1971, at precisely 2:45 p.m., Vince is seated at the flat bench press, a loaded bar resting in the rack above him. 2 45-pound plates on each side. A warm-up wait for him. Around him stand 4 other bodyguards, men equally imposing, though none quite matching Vince's sheer mass. They listen as he speaks, voice carrying easily across the gym floor. "Hollywood actors," he says, wiping sweat from his forehead with the back of his hand. "They think they're dangerous because they play dangerous on screen. Put them in a real situation, no cameras, no stunt doubles, they collapse." His crew chuckles. The rhythm is familiar. Vince enjoys the distinction between performance and reality, between illusion and force. He racks the bar after 12 controlled repetitions. No struggle, no shaking. He sits up slowly, chest expanding with deliberate breaths. The fluorescent lights reflect off the sweat along his shoulders. "These kung fu guys are worse," he continues. "All that jumping around, making noises, breaking boards, looks impressive if you don't know better. But put them in front of a real fighter, someone with size, strength, and actual combat training. 30 seconds. One of the men nearby nods. "What about that Bruce Lee guy? Been hearing about him." Vince snorts, dismissive. "The guy from the Green Hornet? He's what, 5'7"? Maybe 130 pounds? I could bench press him for reps. Martial arts is choreography. It's fine for movies. But when it comes to real physics, mass wins." There is certainty in his tone. Not loud insecurity. Not reckless bravado. Just conviction shaped by years of reinforcement. Every fight he has witnessed. Every confrontation he has diffused. Every sparring partner who wilted under his pressure. The pattern has always held. Bigger, stronger, heavier. Wins. Around him the gym resumes its rhythm, plates clanging, chalk dust rising, mirrors reflecting bodies under construction. But in the circle surrounding Vince, hierarchy is clear. He is the apex specimen in this room. He believes this not because he needs to believe it, but because evidence has never contradicted it, until now. For Vince Takeda, strength is measurable. It is counted in plates, recorded in pounds, proven in dominance. Combat is an extension of force. And force in his experience is inseparable from size. This afternoon in West Hollywood, That equation remains intact. For the moment, at 2:52 p.m., the front door of Gold's Gym opens without ceremony. No dramatic pause, no announcement, just a quiet shift in light as the California sun spills briefly across the rubber flooring before the door swings shut again. The man who enters does not command attention by size. He is slim, compact, approximately 5'7", perhaps 140 pounds. He wears simple gray sweatpants, slightly tapered at the ankle, a plain white t-shirt fitted but not tight, black canvas training shoes, no gym bag, no lifting belt, no tape around his wrists. A small white towel rests over one shoulder. On the surface there is nothing remarkable, but movement reveals what appearance conceals. He does not walk the way most men walk. There is no heaviness in his step, no unnecessary swing in his arms. Each stride lands softly, precisely aligned, as though every joint understands its role in maintaining balance. His posture is relaxed, yet structurally perfect. Head upright, shoulders loose, hips level, not stiff, not rigid, fluid, like water moving inside a narrow channel. He does not glance around the room seeking acknowledgement. He does not scan the mirrors to measure himself against the larger bodies surrounding him. He simply identifies an open space near the heavy bags and steps into it as if he has always belonged there. He begins stretching. Not the exaggerated, careless stretching common on gym floors. His movements are controlled, deliberate. A rotation of the shoulders that flows seamlessly into hip alignment, a gradual extension of the hamstrings without locking the knees. His breathing is slow, almost imperceptible. Each motion appears minimal yet intentional. Across the gym, Vince notices immediately. Predators are sensitive to anomalies, and this man is an anomaly. Vince's eyes narrow slightly. The slim frame, the fluid stretching, the absence of visible effort to impress. It registers not as weakness but as difference. And difference invites scrutiny. "Look at this," Vince says loudly to the men around him. His voice projects easily. Another kung fu tourist, probably watched a Bruce Lee episode and decided he's a warrior. A few men chuckle. Others pretend not to listen. The slim man continues stretching. No reaction, no glance, no tightening of the jaw. The lack of response unsettles Vince more than mockery would have. Fear he understands. Defensiveness he expects. Indifference suggests something else, either ignorance of hierarchy or rejection of it. "Hey!" Vince calls out, standing from the bench. "This is a serious training facility. We don't do interpretive dance here." Nervous laughter ripples from one corner of the room. The slim man turns. His face is calm, clean features, dark eyes steady and unhurried. There is no hostility in his expression, no apology either. He nods once, not submissively, simply acknowledging that he is heard. Then he resumes stretching. Vince feels heat rise in his chest. He walks toward him, steps measured, shoulders wide. The gym senses the shift. Conversations soften. Weights lower more quietly. 37 men, pretending to mind their business, begin watching through reflections in mirrors. Vince stops 6 feet away. "You deaf?" he says. "I said this isn't a playground. You want to do your little routine, take it somewhere else." The slim man straightens slowly. He faces Vince fully now. The contrast is almost theatrical, 285 pounds against 140. The height difference is obvious. The mass difference is overwhelming. Yet tension radiates from only one of them. "I am training," the slim man says softly. His English is precise, tinged faintly with Cantonese cadence. "Just as you are training." His voice carries without strain. Vince laughs. "Training? Brother, look at you. Look at me. We're not the same. You're what, 140 pounds? "Approximately," the man replies. "I could throw you through that wall." Silence settles deeper over the gym. Near the dumbbell rack, a Chinese-American bodybuilder named Mike Chen freezes. Recognition spreads across his face. He knows that voice. He knows that posture. He has seen demonstrations in Chinatown. He steps forward instinctively, then stops. His training partner grips his arm. "Don't," the partner whispers. "Let this play out." Back at the center of the room, Vince continues. "You martial arts guys," he says, tapping his own chest. "You practice forms. You break boards. Very impressive for children's shows. But against real size, real strength, real fighting, it doesn't matter." The slim man studies him carefully. "You are correct," he says. Vince blinks. "Wow!" "Size and strength matter," the man continues calmly. In a fight between two untrained people, the larger person usually wins. This is basic physics. Vince smirks, satisfied. Exactly. But, the man adds, and the word lands softly yet firmly, you are assuming that martial arts training is performance. That is fantasy. He steps slightly closer, still relaxed. This assumption is dangerous. There is no aggression in his tone, no raised voice, just certainty, grounded, controlled, immovable. For the first time since standing, Vince does not immediately respond, because the man in gray is not arguing. He is teaching. Vince's jaw tightens. Dangerous? He repeats. The word sounds foreign in his mouth. You threatening me? No, the slim man replies evenly. I am explaining. The calmness reads as defiance. Vince steps forward until only 3 feet separate them. Close enough to smell the faint scent of soap on the white t-shirt. Close enough to feel the difference in mass, like a physical imbalance in the air. You want to test your explanation? Vince asks. No, the man answers. I do not wish to hurt you. The statement lands harder than an insult. Hurt you. The audacity of it from someone he outweighs by nearly 150 pounds fractures the thin layer of composure Vince had left. Hurt me! Vince spreads his arms wide, chest thrust forward. He taps the center of his torso just below the sternum. Go ahead. Right here. I won't block. I won't move. Hit me as hard as you can. Let's see what your technique does against real muscle. The challenge hangs in the air. It is not reckless in Vince's mind. He has absorbed liver shots from trained boxers. He has taken hooks from men who cut weight to make 220. His abdominal wall is dense, layered, conditioned. This is a humiliation ritual. The slim man studies the exposed target. You are certain? He asks quietly. Absolutely. If I strike, the man continues, you must promise something. Vince laughs. I have to promise? Afterward, you will stop insulting martial artists. You will stop assuming that what you do not understand is worthless. Vince waves dismissively. Fine. If you somehow manage to hurt me, which you won't, I'll apologize to every kung fu guy in Los Angeles. Deal? Deal. The slim man steps forward. He positions himself exactly 2 feet from Vince's chest, not squared aggressively, not bladed theatrically. His feet settle naturally beneath his hips, knees slightly flexed, spine upright but relaxed. There is no chambering of the fist. No dramatic wind-up. His right hand rises slowly from his side, palm facing inward. The movement appears casual, almost conversational. Vince watches, amused. This is it! But the rise stops for a fraction of a second, and in that stillness, everything changes. The man's body aligns. The rear heel subtly pivots into the floor. Ankle locks. Calf engages. The rotational force begins not in the arm but in the ground. It travels upward through the knee without collapse, into the hip as it rotates forward. The pelvis drives. The spine remains structurally stacked. Shoulder releases. Elbow tracks in a direct line. The wrist stabilizes at the final instant. A kinetic chain uninterrupted. The sequence takes less than 1/10 of a second. There is no visible swing. No arc. Just compression then release. The sound is sharp and contained. Not a heavy thud, more like a tightly struck drum. The fist penetrates not superficially but inward approximately 3 inches past the abdominal wall, directly into the solar plexus. The solar plexus is not a muscle. It is a dense network of nerves situated behind the stomach and beneath the sternum, where branches of the vagus nerve intersect with the diaphragm's control center. When struck with precise force and direction, it does not bruise muscle first. It overloads neurological pathways. Vince's eyes widened instantly. His brain registers impact, but the command to inhale fails. The diaphragm spasms. The neural signal controlling breath is disrupted. He attempts to draw air, but nothing enters. His chest heaves mechanically without oxygen transfer. His arms drop. Not by choice, but because the motor signals are momentarily scrambled. His knees buckle. 285 pounds descends rapidly toward the floor. He catches himself on one hand, now on one knee, mouth open, producing small, involuntary gasping sounds. The gym is silent. 37 men stand frozen. No one moves to intervene. 10 seconds pass. Vince remains conscious, fully aware. Panic flickers behind his eyes as his body refuses to cooperate. The slim man steps back immediately. No follow-up strike. No posture of victory. Breathe slowly through your nose, he instructs calmly. Small breaths. Do not force it. The diaphragm will recover. Vince attempts compliance. The body demands large gulps, but that would intensify the spasm. He draws shallow nasal breaths. 15 seconds. Air begins to return in fragments. 20 seconds. The diaphragm releases incrementally. 30 seconds. A full inhale, shaky but complete. Color returns gradually to Vince's face. Sweat beads along his forehead. His chest aches with a deep internal soreness, not surface pain, but something beneath it. He looks up. The arrogance is gone. What did you do? He manages. The slim man crouches so their eyes align. I struck the solar plexus, he says. A technique often called the 1-inch punch. It is not about muscle power. It is about alignment, structure, and understanding which targets override the body's systems. Vince swallows. I've been hit before, he says hoarsely. By heavyweights. Nothing felt like that. You train to absorb external force, the man replies gently. But I did not attack your muscles. I attacked your nervous system. Muscles can be strengthened. Nerve clusters cannot. There is no gloating in his tone. Only explanation. You believed hurting someone requires overpowering their mass, he continues. This is incorrect. The human body has vulnerabilities that do not scale with size. Solar plexus, throat, eyes, knee joints, groin strength does not reinforce these. Vince lowers his gaze. Humiliation exists in the room, but it is not inflicted. It is self-generated. His worldview has been dismantled in under 18 seconds. The slim man rises and extends his hand. After a pause, Vince accepts it. The demonstration is complete. No theatrics. No raised voice. Just evidence. Vince steps back from the gym floor, shaking off the lingering shock from the 1-inch punch. He eyes a heavy bag nearby, a standard 70-pound leather bag filled with sand and fabric. Watch this, he mutters, more to himself than anyone else. He plants his feet firmly, sets his shoulders, and draws back his massive right arm. The punch lands solidly against the bag. The leather swings violently, traveling nearly 3 feet back. The deep thud reverberates across the gym. This is what 285 pounds of concentrated strength looks like. The crowd murmurs approval. Respect finally for brute force. Bruce steps forward, calm, measured. He positions himself extremely close to the same bag, barely an inch between his fist and the leather surface. There is no wind-up, no dramatic preparation. He aligns his feet, spine, and shoulders, stacking his body for optimal kinetic transfer. Then, in a movement nearly invisible, he strikes. The bag launches horizontally 6 feet, the chain taut and metallic, the apparatus vibrating with the shock. Gasps echo from the spectators. No exaggeration, no spectacle, pure physics. Strength exists, Bruce explains, his voice steady. But without proper transmission, it is wasted energy. Power is like an engine with a broken transmission. Force is present, but cannot reach the target efficiently. Vince stares, jaw tight, processing the sight of his own bag being displaced farther by a man a fraction of his size. He swallows hard. Then, surprisingly, he speaks. Can you teach me? Bruce nods slowly. Yes, but understand this, mastery takes time. What I showed you took 20 years to develop. Weeks or months will not suffice. Dedication must be absolute. You must abandon assumptions, rebuild from the ground up. Vince's massive shoulders relax, but his eyes gleam with determination. I'm ready. Bruce surveys the gym, glancing at the crowd of bodybuilders, powerlifters, and martial artists. This is not a performance, he says. Technique multiplies strength. Efficiency beats raw power. Learn this and size becomes secondary. The gym is silent. Respect, curiosity, and disbelief mix in the air. The lesson is no longer theoretical, it is now undeniable, witnessed in the movement of leather, in the precise application of force. Vince and the others understand true power comes not from sheer muscle alone, but from knowing how to make that muscle work in perfect alignment. It was Tuesday, 1:45 p.m. 43 people gathered on the sidewalk outside 628 College Street, Chinatown. The red door with Chinese characters marked the entrance to Bruce Lee's small school. Vince Takeda stood at the front, shoulders squared, eyes alert but calm. He had come to learn. Bruce opened the door and welcomed them with a warm, measured smile. This will be the hardest training of your life, he said. You will want to quit, but if you persist, you will become something you cannot currently imagine. Inside, the air smelled faintly of polished wood and determination. Bruce demonstrated movements with fluidity, precision, and intention. Be like water, he instructed. Water is soft, flexible, formless. It seems weak, yet it carves canyons through solid rock. Water adapts to any container. When struck, it yields, then flows back, unstoppable. That is true power. Vince watched intently, absorbing not just the motion but the meaning. Strength alone had misled him. Technique, precision, and understanding of the body's systems were the real multipliers. For the first time, he felt humility and curiosity in equal measure, the willingness to begin again. Bruce's voice carried over the small group, calm but resolute. Power is not measured by what you possess, but by how perfectly you apply it. Efficiency, alignment, adaptability, these define strength. The 43 students began their first exercises, imitating and learning. Vince felt the transformation begin within himself, the arrogance of size replaced by disciplined focus. Outside, sunlight fell softly on the red door. Inside, a quiet revolution had begun. A group of men and women, each committed to mastering themselves, guided by the philosophy of water. The journey was just beginning, but the lesson was clear. True power is measured not in raw muscle, but in understanding, precision, and the relentless pursuit of improvement.